winning the mirror.
Yeah.
A lot of decks gave up a lot of slots to try to win the mirror. Additional planeswalkers, possibly dispels in the sideboard to fight over Sphinx's Revelation. And Jace being the really critical card.
Currently being dissolved here by Fox, or at least attempting, and it's going to resolve. So a scry here from the blue-white player on your right. We'll get confirmation on what that Python Needle is naming down there as well. But you'll see, unsurprisingly, we've got both players with a bunch of lands and basically nothing in play.
Yeah.
As Fox is naming Jace Memory Adept with that Python Needle.
And I think that's going on in play that's subtle but really meaningful is Adam does not have that much blue mana. He's only got 3. So it's actually hard for him to fight Revelation Wars with that little blue. Got a lot of basic planes in play. Oh, sorry, 4 blue. Which is still a little tight.
That's still definitely low, as counter spells oftentimes cost double blue. Excuse me, you see him rearranging his mana and need to decide how exactly he can afford to use all of it, too. He's going to tap 6. This feels like maybe an Elspeth or an Aetherling. Are we ready to have this battle? Aetherling's going to come down. Blue mana obviously crucial for this.
Mm-hmm.
There's a dissolve. This looks like a gainsay, which it is. So the counter war is over. Aetherling is in, and it's got a blue mana at the ready. And again, this is an Esper where they have Devour Flesh and Doomblade and everything else that goes along with that. So a pinpoint removal spell is not all that realistic, but Garner has an Aetherling of his own.
I'm assuming Adam will fight over this if he can.
Well, certainly. There's a gainsay. If you're Garner, do you fight back?
I mean, if he can.
He's got to negate. He's got to negate it. All right, so Aetherlings are in. Both shields are down. Shields are back up now for Fox that he's untapping. And if you're Garner, you're really hoping that Fox does not have a detention sphere because that will take care of that Aetherling, but it actually won't take care of Fox's because he can blink his out.
I think Adam might be looking to land a big rev here now that Greg's shields are down.
Not a bad idea. Does have rev in his hand. Also has, I believe, a Syncopate hiding out over there as well.
Garner's hand not really well set up to fight this kind of fight right now. He has 2 detention spheres and Azorius Charm. Not the highest of impact cards.
See Fox rearranging his mana. Figuring out exactly how he wants to use every piece on this particular turn. Here's 7 mana. Maybe 8, so 7. So there's a rev for 4. Thumbs up from Garner.
I assume he wants the opportunity to find a detention sphere and still be able to protect his own Aetherling.
There's his land drop for the turn. He says, I'm going to blink or unblockable? Unblockable. Across for 4.
And all other things being equal, going first in the Aetherling race is really important.
Super, super important. Now, it does get interesting because, you know, some interesting cards play a role here, like Azorius Charm playing the role of Fog and other stuff like that.
Also can just be a large lifelink target for your own Aetherling as well.
Elixir of Immortality, the card drawn here for Garner, that can also play the role of like a Fog in this situation. So there is Elixir.
Yeah, it's just funny how these blue-white controlled mirror matches are all about land drops and countering spells and drawing more cards. And then you get to a spot like this where the light toll is actually a real resource.
Yes.
It's usually the last thing that matters, but when both players have Aetherling, it really adds up.
Yeah, the game shifts as Mutavolt's going to get in the red zone along with Aetherling, so we're going to have a good old-fashioned race here. Pump 3 times. That'll be an attack for 7, 8, 9. Going to put Fox down to 18. See, light totals 18 and 19 here. And with enough blue mana to save Aetherling, but again, this is a matchup where Aetherling isn't going to really die from targeted removal. And also enough mana to either represent a counterspell or activate Elixir of Immortality. So a pretty good spot if you're Garner here, as he's trying to win the Aetherling war right now.
Yeah, I mean, he's behind, definitely behind in a number of respects. He's slightly behind in the light total, even though he's ahead this turn, because Adam has the initiative with Aetherling, in essence. And, you know, then it becomes a question of how many, essentially, fogs do each player have.
Mutavault firing up on Fox's side. So now here comes the Ling and the Vault. It's time to pump up the jam. For the full amount, going to be 8.
Go to the top floor.
Yeah. So it's going to be an attack for 10 here total. Looks like Garner's going to take that and go down to 9. Now Fox is going to play the bounce out Aetherling game. Mutavault comes back. Aetherling comes back in. Plenty of mana. Gonna activate Elixir here before Aetherling does come back. So Garner's gonna go up to a cool 14.
And leaving this Aetherling back on defense both prevents Greg from being able to attack with his own Mutavault and also forces Greg to spend an additional mana, making his Aetherling unblockable.
Yep. All positives here.
Yeah. Every little bit of mana matters, you know. These decks have Syncopate and Sphinx's Revelation and a lot of expensive spells. Anything you can do to attack your opponent's mana can be really valuable. Even if it never shows up on the board, it might constrict plays that they could have made.
Yeah, it certainly gives him something to think about. Garner going to draw his card. See what he wants to do on his turn here. Difficult spot. As you did mention, one of the big things here is, you know, a lot of the time it's whoever gets attacked with the Aetherling first. Is now it's unblockable and into the red zone it goes. See how much damage it's going to attempt to deal. Garner looking it over for life totals. Again, Fox at 18. Garner essentially on a 2-turn clock right now from Aetherling. 8 and 6, or we can just do the old 7 and 7. 2 pumps, make an attack for 6. Going to put Fox down to 12. So now Fox is on a 2-turn clock. Garner passes the turn back. No interest in blinking it out. Been a while since we had an Aetherling war.
Yeah, definitely. This takes me back. Greg's hand is so poor, though.
Yeah, it's really not very good. D-Sphere the draw here for Fox, but that's not really going to have much of an impact. See, he's got a Jace over there, but not. The game isn't about the cards in the grip for the most part. It's about the creature that's on the board and making sure that you manage it correctly.
Yeah. Adam's got a huge edge. He just needs to protect himself against randomly getting frozen out of the game here.
Mutavault and Aetherling going to come in. Will there be any spinning of the Aetherling? Looks like the answer is yes. Twice? Twice is nice. Maybe a third time, yes. So you attack for 9 right now, currently. Is Garner okay with this? Because again, he's got that Azorius Charm in his hand, so he could fog the Aetherling essentially. And is this worth fighting over if you're Fox?
I had to assume this is worth a fight here. Well, actually, if this Mutavault connects, then next turn he still has, I guess he would still have to get through the Mutavault and potentially the Aetherling as well. So this is a good spot to try to set up lethal for next turn. And so Adam's going to fight over this.
Dissolve going to take care of the Azorius Charm. Going to leave the top card, going to leave the card on top, excuse me. Count the damage there. It's going to be attack for 9. Going to put Garner down to 5. Is it worth it to blink out that Aetherling? The answer looks to be yes.
Yeah, that Syncopate's probably not stopping anything meaningful at this point, so using your mana just to be as flexible as possible with Aetherling seems like a good plan.
So that goes back. And it looks like he did not blink it out, so just going to pass the turn back here. Dealt the 1 more point of damage after countering the Azorius Charm.
Oh, sure.
So it puts Garner down to 4, which makes Aetherling a lethal attack with no pumps, which is important here as Garner draws his card. Now again, he can't deal lethal. 8 plus 2 from the Mutavault is 10. Fox is at 12.
Yeah, I mean, Greg has to basically Jace and find something because his hand does not allow for anything.
That's what he's on. Architect of Thought's going to come in. And Fox gives that a healthy thumbs up, saying, yeah, if you have to do that, I'm in heaven.
That's a good sign.
Turning over a Jace, a Negate, and a Azorius Guildgate. Fox, chop them up as you will. Jace is going to go with the Guildgate. Negate going to go to the hand. You see a D-Sphere right there in Garner's hand. Not going to play much of a role in this particular game. And a hand of multiple D-Spheres right now for Greg Garner.
Nothing that can stop an Aetherling.
It's that helpless feeling.
I actually like the presence of Aetherling in these matchups because otherwise these games would just never end.
Yeah. I'm with you.
They would never end.
I know Andrew Cunio's probably angry that this is happening. That Aetherlings are attacking back and forth instead of Elixirs and Revelations being cast.
I know that Andrew Cunio would rather have this be a Codex Shredder race rather than an Aetherling race, but in the interest of time, I'm glad that that game concluded the way that it did.
Adam Fox wins this match over Greg Garner, 2-0. He's moving on to 4-0 with blue-white control.